My name is Celestine Celeste Marie Thornton, and on March 15th, 2024, my 28th birthday, my father handed me an envelope across the table at Olive Garden and said, "This is the last thing I'll ever give you." Inside were disownment papers, legal documents officially severing me from the Thornton family. My crime? I'd chosen to work at a shameful job instead of becoming a doctor like he'd planned for my entire life. But here's the thing about rock bottom. Sometimes it's actually a launching pad, because exactly 4 hours after my father disowned me in front of a basket of breadsticks, I was standing on a stage at the Ritz-Carlton in downtown Chicago, shaking hands with the CEO of one of the largest corporations in America, accepting an award that would change my life forever. And my father? He was watching it all happen live on the local news, realizing he just made the biggest mistake of his life. Let me take you back to the beginning. Chapter 1. The Doctor's Daughter. I grew up in Naperville, Illinois, in a beautiful house with a perfectly manicured lawn and a father who had my entire life planned out before I could even walk. Dr. Marcus Thornton, yes. He insisted everyone call him doctor, even at parent-teacher conferences, was a cardiologist. Successful, respected, and absolutely convinced that his only daughter would follow in his footsteps. "You're going to be a surgeon, Celeste," he'd say at dinner, like it was already decided. Cardiothoracic like me. The Thornton medical legacy. Never mind that I fainted at the sight of blood. Never mind that my passion was technology and design. Never mind that when I was 12, I built my first website and felt more alive than I'd ever felt in my father's medical journals. None of that mattered to Marcus Thornton. My mother, Grace, was softer. She'd stroke my hair and whisper, "Follow your heart, sweetheart." But she'd never stand up to my father. Nobody did. I spent my entire childhood being the perfect daughter. Straight A's, volunteer work at the hospital, where I fainted twice, pre-med track at Northwestern University, MCAT prep courses that made me want to cry. And through it all, late at night, I'd design websites. I'd code. I'd lose myself in the digital world where I actually felt like myself. My father called it a hobby. I called it survival. Chapter 2. The breaking point. Breaking point came during my second year of medical school. I was miserable. Absolutely soul-crushingly miserable. My grades were slipping. I was having panic attacks before every anatomy lab. I'd started seeing a therapist who gently suggested that maybe, just maybe, I was on the wrong path. But how do you tell Marcus Thornton that you don't want to be a doctor? You don't. Not if you want to keep the peace. Until one Tuesday afternoon in October 2022, when I physically couldn't make myself go to class. I sat in my car in the parking lot, hands shaking, and I just couldn't. I drove home instead. To my tiny apartment that Dad paid for. Because med students shouldn't work. They should focus on school. And I opened my laptop. I'd been secretly freelancing as a web designer for 2 years, building sites for small businesses under a pseudonym. It was the only thing that made me happy. The only time I felt like I was good at something. That day, I made a decision that would change everything. I dropped out of medical school. Chapter 3. The fallout. I waited until Thanksgiving to tell my parents. Big mistake. We were sitting around the dinner table. Mom, Dad, my younger brother Isaiah, who was perfect, according to Dad, because he actually wanted to be a doctor, and my grandmother, Nana Rose. "I have something to tell you all," I said, my voice shaking. Dad looked up from carving the turkey. "What is it?" I left medical school. The silence was deafening. "You what?" Dad's voice was quiet. "Dangerous. I dropped out. 2 months ago. I couldn't do it anymore. I was miserable, Dad. I was having panic attacks. Panic attacks." He laughed. Actually laughed. "Celeste, everyone gets stressed in medical school. You push through it. It was more than stress. I was depressed. I hated every single day, so you just quit?" His voice was rising now. "Do you know how much money I've spent on your education? How much I've sacrificed? I'll pay you back with what? Your little website hobby?" Mom put her hand on his arm. "Marcus, let's discuss this calmly." "There's nothing to discuss." He threw his napkin on the table. "She's throwing her life away." "I'm not throwing my life away. I'm finally living it." That's when he said the words that broke something between us forever. "If you walk away from medicine, you're walking away from this family. You'll be on your own." "Completely on your own," Nana Rose gasped. "Marcus, you don't mean that." "I absolutely mean it." He looked at me with such cold fury. Choose medicine or you're done being my daughter. I looked at my mother. She wouldn't meet my eyes. I looked at Isaiah. He looked uncomfortable but said nothing. I looked at Nana Rose. She nodded at me. Just a tiny nod. Do it, her eyes said. Be free. Then I guess I'm done being your daughter, I whispered. I left that Thanksgiving dinner and never went back. Chapter 4. Starting over, the next 18 months were the hardest of my life. Dad cut me off completely. No more rent money, no more car insurance, no more safety net. Mom would secretly call me sometimes, crying, begging me to just apologize and go back to medical school. She'd send me $200 here and there, but it was always with guilt attached. Isaiah stopped talking to me entirely. I was the family embarrassment. Only Nana Rose stood by me. She was 76, living in a retirement community in Schaumburg, and she'd transfer me $500 every month with a note. For my brave girl. Make me proud. I cried every time. I moved into a tiny studio apartment in Logan Square. I waitressed at a diner in the mornings and designed websites at night. I ate ramen and rice. I wore the same 3 outfits on rotation. I was exhausted and scared and lonely. But I was free. And slowly, my freelance business started growing. I designed a website for a local bakery. They referred me to a boutique. The boutique owner referred me to a restaurant. The restaurant owner referred me to a gym. Word of mouth spread. By January 2024, I had 15 regular clients. I wasn't rich, but I was paying my bills. I wasn't successful by my father's standards, but I was happy. Then, in February 2024, everything changed. Chapter 5. The email that changed everything. Was eating cold pizza at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday when the email came through. From Tech Forward Initiative, email protected. Subject, congratulations! You've been selected as a finalist. My heart stopped. 3 months earlier, my best friend Zara had convinced me to enter a competition called the Tech Forward Initiative. It was a national program run by Nexus Corporation, one of the biggest tech companies in America, designed to find and support emerging tech entrepreneurs under 30. You have to enter, Zara had insisted. Your work is incredible. I'd submitted my portfolio as a lark, never expecting anything. And now this email said I was one of 5 finalists out of over 10,000 applicants. The winner would receive $250,000 in funding, mentorship from Nexus executives, and a feature in Forbes magazine. The awards ceremony was scheduled for March 15, 2024, my birthday. Chapter 6. The secret preparation. I didn't tell anyone except Zara and Nana Rose. Part of me was terrified to hope. Part of me couldn't believe this was real. And part of me knew that if I told my family, especially my father, and I didn't win, I'd never hear the end of it. Another failure, I could hear him say. Just like dropping out of medical school. So I kept quiet. I worked with the Tech Forward coordinators on my presentation. I practiced my pitch until I could recite it in my sleep. I bought a professional dress from a consignment shop. $45, the most I'd spent on clothing in a year. And every night, I'd look at my reflection and give myself pep talks. You deserve this. Your work matters. You are not a failure. Nana Rose came to visit me the week before the ceremony. She held my hands in her frail ones and said, Your grandfather would be so proud of you. I know your father can't see it, but you're doing something remarkable. What if I don't win? I whispered. Then you're still my brave, brilliant granddaughter who had the courage to choose her own path. That's already winning. Chapter 7. The Birthday Lunch. The Disownment. The morning of March 15th started with a text from my mother. Your father wants to have lunch with you today. Olive Garden on Route 59, 12:30 p.m. Please come. It's important. My heart leapt. Maybe he'd finally come around. Maybe he wanted to reconcile. Maybe, on my birthday, he'd finally tell me he was proud of me. I should have known better. I got to Olive Garden at 12:25. Dad was already there, sitting in a booth, looking stern in his button-down shirt and slacks. Hi, Dad, I said nervously. Celeste, sit. Not, happy birthday. Not, how are you? Just, sit. I sat. I'm not going to waste time with pleasantries, he said. Your mother has been nagging me for months to reach out to you. So here I am, reaching out. Okay? My stomach was twisting. I'm willing to give you one more chance. You can re-enroll in medical school. I've spoken with the dean at Northwestern. If you write a letter of apology and reapply, they'll consider taking you back for the fall semester. Dad, I'm not finished. His voice was ice. This is your last chance to make things right, to stop embarrassing this family, to become something.
I am something. I'm a web designer. I have a business. You're a waitress who plays with computers. He said it with such contempt. You're 28 years old, Celeste. When I was your age, I was a surgical resident saving lives. You're serving pancakes. I'm building something. I'm happy. Happy doesn't pay bills. Happy doesn't earn respect. Happy is what unemployed people say to feel better about their failures. Tears were burning my eyes, but I wouldn't let them fall. So what's it going to be? He asked. Are you going to grow up and go back to medical school, or are you going to keep pretending that your little hobby is a career? I'm not going back to medical school, he nodded slowly. Then he reached into his briefcase and pulled out a manila envelope. Then I'm done, he said, sliding it across the table. What is this? Legal papers officially disowning you. You're no longer my daughter. You're no longer a Thornton. I'm removing you from my will, my insurance, everything. I opened the envelope with shaking hands. It was real. Legal documents already signed by him waiting for my signature. You're actually disowning me? On my birthday? I'm drawing a boundary. If you want to destroy your life, fine. But you won't do it with my name attached, the waitress appeared. Can I get you folks started with some drinks? The absurdity of the moment, being disowned at Olive Garden while a cheerful server offered breadsticks, almost made me laugh. Just water, I managed. Dad ordered iced tea. Like this was a normal lunch. I looked at the papers, at his signature, at the line waiting for mine, and I thought about the award ceremony happening in just 4 hours. I thought about the presentation I'd prepared. I thought about Nana Rose saying, "You're already winning." I picked up the pen he'd placed on the table, and I signed. There, I said, sliding the papers back to him. Are you happy now? He put them back in his briefcase without emotion. I'm protecting my legacy. You'll understand someday, when you have children and they disappoint you. He left $40 on the table for the meal we hadn't eaten and walked out. I sat there alone in that booth for 15 minutes, crying into a basket of breadsticks until Zara called, "Where are you? The ceremony starts at 5. You need to be there by 4 for check-in." I looked at my watch. 1:15 p.m. I'll be there, I said. I'm coming. I wiped my face, left the Olive Garden, and drove straight to the Ritz-Carlton. Chapter 8. The ceremony. The moment of truth. The grand ballroom of the Ritz-Carlton was stunning. Crystal chandeliers, a stage with massive screens, and about 500 people in attendance, finalists, their families, industry professionals, and media. I checked in at 4 p.m., my eyes still red from crying. "Are you okay, sweetie?" the coordinator asked kindly. "Just nervous," I lied. Zara met me in the bathroom. She took one look at me and pulled me into a hug. What happened? I told her everything. The lunch. The papers. The disownment. On your birthday? She was furious. I'm going to key his car. I'm serious. Give me his license plate number. I laughed through my tears. Don't. It's okay. I'm okay. No, you're not. I will be. Especially if I win this thing. Even if you don't win, you're still amazing. At 4:45 p.m., the finalists were taken to a waiting area backstage. There were 5 of us. Marcus Chen, 26, who'd developed an app for sustainable farming. Priya Patel, 29, who'd created an AI tutoring platform. Deshaun Mitchell, 27, who'd built a cybersecurity startup. Lily Nakamura, 25, who'd designed assistive technology for disabled users. And me, Celestine Thornton, 28, web designer and certified family disappointment. We all looked terrified. At 5 p.m. sharp, the ceremony began. The CEO of Nexus Corporation, a woman named Margaret Chen, no relation to Marcus, took the stage. She was in her 60s, powerful, commanding. Technology isn't just about innovation, she said. It's about people. It's about solving real problems for real communities. Each of our finalists tonight represents the future of tech, diverse, creative, passionate, and driven not by profit, but by purpose. One by one, we were called to present our work. Marcus Chen showed his farming, App, impressive. Priya Patel demonstrated her AI. Tutor, incredible. Deshaun Mitchell explained his cybersecurity. System, brilliant. Lily Nakamura presented her assistive. Tech, revolutionary. Then it was my turn. Celestine Thornton. Margaret Chen announced. I walked onto that stage on shaking legs. Chapter 9. My moment, finding my voice. The spotlight was blinding. I could barely see the audience. I thought about my father, signing those papers. Thought about every time he'd called my work a hobby. I thought about sleeping on Nana Rose's couch when I couldn't make rent. I thought about every single person who told me I was making a mistake. And I started talking. My name is Celestine Thornton, and 2 years ago, I dropped out of medical school. Murmurs in the audience. This wasn't a typical opening. I was supposed to be a doctor. My father is a doctor. It was planned before I was born. But I was miserable, so I quit. And when I quit, my family cut me off. I saw Margaret Chen lean forward, interested. For the past 18 months, I've been building websites for small businesses. Not Fortune 500 companies, not tech giants. Small businesses. The bakery down the street. The family-owned restaurant. The boutique struggling to compete with Amazon. I clicked to my first slide, before and after. Images of my clients' websites. These businesses couldn't afford big agencies charging $50,000 for a website, but they needed a digital presence to survive. So I created affordable, beautiful, functional websites. And then I taught the owners how to maintain them themselves. More slides. Testimonials from clients. Growth statistics. My business is called Elevate Digital, and my mission is to democratize web design, to make it accessible, to teach small business owners that they don't need to be tech experts. They just need the right tools and someone who believes in them. I clicked to my final slide, my vision for the future. If I win this grant, I'll create an online platform where small business owners can build their own websites using templates I design, with video tutorials I create, and with support from a community I'll foster. I'll make web design accessible to everyone, not just the people who can afford it. I looked directly at Margaret Chen. My father told me today that I was throwing my life away, that I was a failure. But standing here, having helped 15 small businesses grow, having taught myself to code, having built something from nothing, I don't feel like a failure. I feel like I'm just getting started. The audience erupted in applause. I walked off that stage shaking so hard I thought I might collapse. Zara caught me in the wings. Celeste, oh my God, that was incredible. I can't believe I said all that about my dad. You were perfect. You were real. Everyone else sounded like robots reading business plans. You told a story. Chapter 10. The winner, the phone call. The 5 finalists stood on stage while Margaret Chen held the winner's envelope. This was the hardest decision we've ever made, she said. Each of you represents something special, but one of you captured what Tech Forward is really about, using technology to lift others up, not just to get ahead. Please, I thought, please. The winner of the 2024 Tech Forward initiative is... The pause felt like an eternity. Celestine Thornton and Elevate Digital. I don't remember walking forward. I don't remember shaking Margaret's hand. I don't remember anything except the roar of applause. And Zara screaming from the audience. Margaret handed me a giant check for $250,000 and pulled me aside as photographers swarmed. Your presentation was remarkable, she said. Not just the business plan, though that was solid, but your story. That took courage. Thank you, I whispered. Thank you so much. We'll be in touch Monday morning to start the mentorship program. Congratulations, Celestine. After the ceremony, I stood in the lobby in a daze. Media wanted interviews. Other finalists wanted to congratulate me. Industry people were handing me business cards. My phone was buzzing nonstop. Zara, you did it. I'm crying. Nana Rose, I'm watching on the news. My brilliant girl. I knew it. Unknown numbers, texts, emails, and then one text that made my heart stop. Mom, we saw you on the news. Your father wants to talk. Please call. I stared at that message for a long moment, then I turned off my phone. Chapter 11. The next morning, choosing me, I woke up on March 16th in Zara's apartment. We'd celebrated with champagne and Chinese food until 2 a.m. to 47 missed calls. Most were from media and business. contacts, but 12 were from my mother, 3 were from Isaiah, and 5 were from my father, who'd never called me once in 18 months. I made coffee and sat on Zara's balcony, looking out at Chicago, and I listened to the voicemails. Mom crying, "Celeste, we saw you on the news. Everyone's calling us. Everyone's asking about you. Your father needs to talk to you. Please call back." Isaiah, "Hey, that was really cool. The award thing. Congrats, I guess. Dad's freaking out. Just call Mom back, okay?" Dad, message 1. "Celeste, it's your father. We need to discuss this award." Call me, Dad, message 2. "Celeste, I'm serious. Call me back." Dad, message 3. "Fine, I'll come to you." My blood ran cold. I called Nana Rose. "Sweetheart, how does it feel to be famous?" She sounded so happy. "Nana, Dad's calling me." "Of course he is. He just realized he disowned a quarter-millionaire." Her voice was dry. "What are you going to do?" "I don't know. Part of me wants to forgive him. He's still my dad. And part of you? Part of me wants him to know what it feels like to be rejected." Nana Rose was quiet for a moment. "Can I tell you something your grandfather told me once?" "Of course." He said, "Rosie, forgiveness isn't about them. It's about you. But forgiveness doesn't mean giving people the power to hurt you again. You can forgive your father for being a stubborn fool, but you don't have to let him back into your life until he proves he's changed. Do you understand?" "Yes," I whispered. "Good, now go celebrate. You earned this." Chapter 12. The Confrontation, Setting Boundaries. My father showed up at my apartment. He'd gotten the address from Mom on March 17th, exactly 2 days after disowning me. I let him in because I was curious what he'd say. He looked around my tiny studio, the secondhand furniture, the desk covered in design sketches, the award certificate I'd already framed and hung on the wall. "So this is where you've been living?" he said. "Yes, it's small. It's mine." He sat down on my thrift store couch without being invited. "I saw you on the news," he said. "The award ceremony, I know. Mom told me. Why didn't you tell us you were a finalist?" "Because you disowned me. Remember, at Olive Garden? 2 days ago?" He had the decency to look uncomfortable. I was trying to motivate you. By legally disowning me on my birthday? I thought you needed tough love." "No, Dad. You were embarrassed by me, and you wanted to punish me for not living the life you chose." He was quiet for a long moment. "Margaret Chen is a friend of mine," he said finally. "From medical school, actually. She married a tech entrepreneur. I called her yesterday. My heart sank." "Why?" "To tell her about you. About how proud I am." I laughed. Actually laughed. "Are you kidding me? You disowned me 48 hours ago. I made a mistake." His voice rose. "I was wrong, okay? Is that what you want to hear? I was wrong about you. About your business. About everything. Why? Because I won money? Because I'm suddenly successful by your standards? What if I hadn't won, Dad? Would you still be wrong? Or would I still be a disappointment?" He didn't answer. "That's what I thought," I said quietly. "You don't actually respect me or my work. You just don't want to be embarrassed that you disowned someone successful. You want to tell people, 'That's my daughter,' and take credit for something you tried to destroy. That's not fair. You disowned me." I was shouting now. "You made me sign papers. You told me I was an embarrassment. You said I was a failure. And now because I won an award, suddenly I'm worth claiming again? No, absolutely not." He stood up. "I came here to apologize, then apologize. Actually apologize. Don't tell me you were trying to motivate me or made a mistake. Apologize for making my entire childhood about your dreams. Apologize for cutting me off when I chose my own path. Apologize for disowning me on my birthday." We stared at each other. And then, for the first time in my life, my father's eyes filled with tears. "You're right," he said quietly. "About all of it. I've been a terrible father to you. I made your life about me. About my ego. About my legacy. And when you had the courage to choose differently, I punished you for it." He sat back down, looking older than I'd ever seen him. "I watched your presentation," he continued. "I watched you talk about dropping out of medical school, about being cut off, about building something from nothing. And I realized you're braver than I ever was. I became a doctor because my father was a doctor. I followed the safe path. But you You risked everything to be yourself. Dad, I'm sorry, Celeste. I'm so sorry. For everything. For not seeing you. For not supporting you. For those damn papers. He pulled them from his jacket pocket. I'm tearing them up. They were cruel and stupid, and I never should have. Keep them, I said. He looked confused. Keep them as a reminder of what happens when you try to control people instead of loving them. We talked for 2 hours. Really talked. For the first time in my life, my father listened to me. Heard me, saw me. Did it fix everything? No. Did I instantly trust him again? No, but it was a start. Epilogue. 1 year later, March 15th, 2025. I'm writing this from my new office. A real office with employees and a conference room and everything. Elevate Digital is thriving. The platform I built with the grant money has helped over 500 small businesses create websites. I've been featured in Forbes, Entrepreneur, and Business Insider. I've hired 6 employees, all women from non-traditional tech backgrounds. Margaret Chen became my mentor and friend. She connected me with investors, clients, and opportunities I'd never dreamed of. Nana Rose came to my office opening. She cried happy tears and said, I knew it all along. My relationship with my father is still complicated. We have dinner once a month. He asks about my business now, actually listens, and sometimes even gives decent advice. He introduced me to several doctor clients who needed websites. He's trying. Mom and I talk every week. She admitted she was wrong to never stand up for me, and we're slowly rebuilding trust. Isaiah is in his final year of medical school, and recently told me he's actually jealous that I had the courage to choose my own path. We're closer than we've ever been. And today, my 29th birthday, I received a package. Inside was a framed photo of me on that stage at the Ritz-Carlton, holding the giant check with the biggest smile on my face. The note attached said, to my daughter, who taught me that success isn't about following a path, it's about creating your own. Happy birthday. Love, Dad. I hung it right next to my award certificate, because both of those things are true, the victory and the journey that got me there, including the Disownment papers at Olive Garden, especially those final thoughts, for everyone who's been told. They're not enough if you're reading this and you've ever been told that your dreams are foolish, your passion is just a hobby, or your path is wrong. I want you to know something. They're wrong, not you, them. Success isn't one size fits all. It isn't just medical degrees and corporate jobs and traditional paths. Success is waking up excited about your life. Success is doing work that matters to you. Success is having the courage to choose yourself. Will it be hard? Yes. Will people doubt you? Absolutely. Will you doubt yourself? Probably. But on the other side of that doubt, that fear, that risk, there's a version of you that's free. That's authentic. That's proud of what you've built. And that version of you? She's worth fighting for, trust me. I know,